Every woman in the kingdom ran from him. His size made them scream. His presence made them tremble. 12 rejections. 12 failures. But then she came. The one person who had every reason to hate him. The daughter of the woman who cursed him. And everything changed. The winter air bit at Elena's skin as she stood at the edge of the forbidden forest. She had been warned 1,000 times never to come here. The trees loomed overhead like skeletal fingers reaching toward a gray sky. Her breath came out in small white clouds that vanished into the cold. Behind her, the village was celebrating. Another woman had refused the Alpha King. That made 12 rejections in 2 years. Elena pulled her cloak tighter and stepped forward. Dead leaves crunched beneath her boots. She was not supposed to be here. She was not even supposed to exist in his world. Omegas were forbidden from approaching the royal territory. The penalty was exile or worse. But Elena had a secret that burned in her chest like hot coals. She was not just any Omega. She was the daughter of the woman who had cursed the Alpha King 17 years ago. Her mother had been a healer, accused of witchcraft and sentenced to death by the previous king. With her final breath, she had cursed the royal bloodline. The current Alpha King Drakon had borne the worst of it. He had grown to an enormous size that terrified everyone who saw him. 9 feet tall, they said. Muscles like carved stone. Hands that could crush a man's skull without effort. Eyes that glowed gold in the darkness. No woman could bear to look at him without trembling. No woman could imagine sharing a bed with such a monster. Elena knew this because she had seen him once when she was a child. She had been hiding in the market when he passed through. The crowd had parted like water around a boulder. She remembered his shadow falling over her. She remembered looking up and up and up. She remembered feeling small enough to disappear. But she also remembered something else. Something no one ever talked about. The sadness in his eyes. Now she walked deeper into the forest where his hunting lodge stood. Trees grew thicker here. The path narrowed until branches scraped at her arms. She could smell smoke from a chimney somewhere ahead. Her heart hammered against her ribs. What was she doing? This was insane. She had come to break her mother's curse. She had found the counterspell in her mother's hidden journals. But it required something dangerous. It required her to offer herself willingly to the cursed one. To bind herself to him completely. To accept him as he was. Only then would the curse shatter. Elena had no intention of going through with the binding. She just needed to get close enough to perform the spell. Then she would run. She would disappear into the eastern territories where no one knew her name. The lodge appeared through the trees like a sleeping beast. It was larger than she expected. Built from dark wood and stone. Smoke curled from 3 chimneys. Windows glowed with firelight. She crept closer, her pulse racing. A twig snapped beneath her foot. The sound cracked through the silence like a gunshot. Elena froze. Every muscle in her body locked tight. For several heartbeats, nothing happened. Then the front door opened. He filled the entire doorway. Drakon stood there in the flickering light, and Elena's breath caught in her throat. He was bigger than she remembered. So much bigger. His shoulders were nearly as wide as the doorframe. His head almost brushed the top. He wore simple clothes, a loose shirt and dark pants, but they could not hide the raw power of his form. His hair was black and wild, falling past his shoulders. His face was hard, all sharp angles and rough edges. But his eyes, those golden eyes found her in the darkness. They pinned her in place like a butterfly to a board. Who dares trespass on my land? His voice rolled through the forest like thunder. Deep and rough and commanding. Elena's legs trembled, but she forced herself to stand straight. I am Elena Thornwood. She was shocked her voice did not shake. I have come to speak with you about the curse. Silence stretched between them. He studied her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. Then he laughed. It was a bitter, harsh sound. Another one, he said. Come to mock the monster, have you? Come to see if the rumors are true. No, Elena said quickly. I came to help. Help. He repeated the word like it was poison. No one helps me, girl. They run. They scream. They refuse. That is what they do. He started to turn away. My mother was Elena Thornwood, Elena called out. Drakon stopped. His massive frame went completely still. Slowly he turned back to face her. The witch, he said quietly. The word hung in the air between them. The healer, Elena corrected. The woman your father murdered for trying to save her sister. His jaw clenched. I know what my father did. I have paid for his sins every day since the curse took hold. I can break it, Elena said. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. I found my mother's journals. I know how to undo what she did. Drakon descended the steps. Each footfall shook the ground. He moved toward her like an avalanche in slow motion. Elena's instincts screamed at her to run. Every fiber of her being wanted to flee. But she held her ground. He stopped 3 feet away. Close, he was overwhelming. She had to tilt her head back just to see his face. He smelled like pine smoke and leather and something wild she could not name. Why would you help me? He asked. His voice was softer now but no less dangerous. Your mother cursed my bloodline. You should want me to suffer. Elena swallowed hard. Because the curse was not meant for you. It was meant for your father. You were just a child when this began. You have done nothing to deserve this. Something flickered in his golden eyes. What do you want in return? Nothing, she lied. She wanted to run away and never look back. She wanted to be free of her mother's legacy. She wanted to stop feeling responsible for his pain. Drakon leaned down. He brought his face close to hers. So close she could feel the heat radiating from his skin. Everyone wants something, he murmured. What is your price, Elena Thornwood? Her name in his deep voice sent shivers down her spine. Safe passage to the Eastern Territories after the spell is complete, she said. That is all. He studied her for a long moment. Then he straightened. Come inside, he said. It is too cold to discuss this out here. He turned and walked back toward the lodge. Elena hesitated. Going inside with him seemed like crossing a line she could not uncross. But she had come this far. She followed him through the doorway. The interior was warm and surprisingly comfortable. A large fire crackled in the stone fireplace. Furs covered the floor. Books lined the walls. It looked like a place where someone actually lived, not a monster's lair. Drakon moved to pour 2 cups of something from a pitcher. His movements were careful, deliberate, like he was trying very hard not to break anything. He handed her a cup. Their fingers brushed. His hand was enormous compared to hers. Her entire fist would fit in his palm. The thought made heat rush to her face. Sit, he said, gesturing to a chair near the fire. Elena sat. He lowered himself onto a reinforced bench across from her. Even sitting, he towered over her. Tell me about this spell, he said. Elena pulled the journal from her pack with shaking hands. She opened it to the marked page. The curse binds you to your size and strength until someone accepts you fully. Someone who knows what you are and chooses you anyway. Impossible, Drakon said flatly. No woman would choose this. That is where the counterspell comes in, Elena continued. There is a ritual, an offering. If performed correctly, it should satisfy the curse's conditions without requiring actual acceptance. She was lying. The journal was clear. The curse could only be broken by genuine acceptance. By love freely given. But she could not tell him that. She would perform the ritual, make it look convincing, and slip away before he realized it had not worked. Drakon was watching her with those unsettling golden eyes. You are lying to me, he said. Elena's heart stopped. What? I can hear your heartbeat, he said. It speeds up when you lie. What are you not telling me? Panic clawed at her throat. I do not know what you mean. There it is again, he said. He leaned forward. Tell me the truth, Elena. What does the curse really require? She set the cup down with trembling hands. It requires genuine acceptance, she whispered. Someone who knows what you are and wants you anyway. Completely. Without reservation. And you thought you could fake that? There was no anger in his voice. Only tired resignation. I am sorry, Elena said. I just wanted to help. I wanted to fix what my mother broke. You cannot fix this, Drakon said. He stood and walked to the window. His reflection in the glass looked like a shadow given form. I have accepted my fate. I will rule alone. I will die alone. That is the price of my father's cruelty. Elena stood as well. Something twisted in her chest. That is not fair, she said. You did nothing wrong. Life is not fair, he replied. You should go before the snow gets worse. But Elena did not move. She looked at him standing there. This massive, terrifying man who read books and moved carefully and had sad eyes. This king who had been punished for his father's sins. This person who expected nothing but rejection. Something shifted inside her. Something she had not expected. What if I stayed? She heard herself say. Drakon turned slowly. What? What if I stayed? Elena repeated. Her heart was racing but her voice was steady. What if we tried? What if I got to know you and you got to know me and we saw what happened? You do not mean that, he said. But there was hope in his voice. Fragile and desperate. I do not know if I mean it, Elena admitted. But I know I do not want to leave you here alone. I know my mother would not have wanted this curse to destroy an innocent person. And I know that. Maybe, just maybe, we could find a way forward. Drakon crossed the room in 3 huge strides. He stopped just in front of her. Do you understand what you are saying? He asked. If you stay, if you try this, there is no going back. The curse will bind us together. If it works, we will be mated for life. If it does not, you will be tied to me anyway by your attempt. Elena looked up at him. Really looked at him. Past the size and the strength and the fear. She saw a man who had been alone for far too long. A man who deserved a chance. I understand, she said. Drakon reached out slowly. His huge hand cupped her face with shocking gentleness. His thumb brushed her cheek. You are either very brave or very foolish, he murmured. Maybe both, Elena whispered. He smiled then. It transformed his entire face. Made him look younger, less burdened. Then we will be foolish together, he said. Outside, the wind howled through the trees. Snow began to fall in thick white curtains. The world beyond the lodge disappeared into winter darkness. But inside, the fire burned bright and warm. Elena felt the weight of her decision settle over her shoulders. She had come here to break a curse and run away. Instead, she had bound herself to the one person she should not. The Alpha King who was too big, too strong, too other for anyone to want. Except maybe her. She was not sure when it had happened. Somewhere between his careful movements and his sad eyes and his honest words. Somewhere between fear and curiosity and something that felt dangerously close to hope. Drakon was still touching her face. His hand was warm and rough and gentle all at once. Are you afraid of me? He asked quietly. Elena considered the question. Yes, she said honestly. But not because of your size. Then what? Because I think you could break my heart, she whispered. His expression softened. Then we are even, he said. Because you already hold mine in your hands. The admission hung between them. Raw and vulnerable and true. Elena reached up and placed her small hand over his large one. Then we will be careful with each other, she said. Drakon nodded. The ritual, he said. When do we perform it? Tomorrow night, Elena replied. Under the full moon. We will need to prepare. And if it does not work? Elena met his golden gaze steadily. Then we will figure out what comes next. Together. The word together felt like a promise. Like something solid she could hold on to. Drakon showed her to a guest room. It was smaller than the main space but still comfortable. A fire already burned in the fireplace. Fresh furs covered the bed. Sleep, he said from the doorway. Tomorrow will be difficult. Drakon, Elena called as he turned to leave. He looked back. Thank you for giving me a chance. His smile was small but genuine. Thank you for not running. He closed the door softly behind him. Elena sat on the bed and stared at the fire. What had she done? She had come here to break a curse from a distance. She had planned to trick him and disappear. Instead, she had agreed to bind herself to him, to try to make this work. The smart thing would be to leave now, to climb out the window and run into the forest. But Elena did not move. Because beneath the fear and uncertainty was something else. Curiosity. Attraction. The possibility that maybe her mother's curse had been waiting for exactly this. For the witch's daughter to fall for the cursed king. For acceptance to come from the last place anyone expected. Elena lay back on the furs and closed her eyes. Tomorrow would change everything. One way or another. Outside her window, the snow continued to fall. Covering the forest in white. Hiding the paths in and out. Trapping her here with the Alpha King. With Drakon. With her fate. And somewhere deep in her chest, her heart whispered that maybe being trapped was not the worst thing that could happen. Maybe it was exactly where she was supposed to be. The fire crackled and popped. Shadows danced on the walls. And Elena drifted into sleep thinking about golden eyes and gentle hands, and the way her name sounded in his deep voice. Tomorrow would bring the ritual. Tomorrow would bring truth. But tonight, she let herself imagine a future she had not planned for. A future where she stayed. Where she chose him. Where love broke the curse that hate had made. It was a dangerous dream. But it was hers. The morning light filtered through the frost-covered windows like diamonds scattered across glass. Elena woke to the smell of bread baking and something rich and savory cooking. For a moment she forgot where she was. Then memory crashed back. Village. The Alpha King. Her impossible promise. She sat up quickly, her heart racing. Today was the day of the ritual. Today everything would change. She dressed in the simple clothes she had brought and braided her dark hair back from her face. Her hands shook slightly as she tied the leather cord. When she emerged from the guest room, she found Drakon in the kitchen. He stood at the stove, stirring something in a large pot. The sight was so domestic, so normal, that it made her chest tight. This massive warrior king, cooking breakfast. He turned when he heard her footsteps. "Good morning," he said. His voice was softer in the daylight. Less frightening. "Good morning," Elena replied. She moved closer, drawn by the warmth and the smell of food. "I made stew," Drakon said. "And bread. I was not sure what you liked." "You did not have to do that." "I wanted to," he said simply. He ladled stew into 2 bowls. One normal-sized for her. One enormous for himself. They sat at the table together. Elena was hyper-aware of everything. The way he moved carefully in the space. The way he held his spoon like it might break. The way he kept glancing at her like he expected her to vanish. "Did you sleep well?" he asked. "Yes," Elena said. "Your home is comfortable." "It is quiet," Drakon said. "I have lived alone here for 3 years. Since the last rejection." "Do you ever go to the capital?" "Rarely. Only when I must for council meetings. People fear me. It is easier for everyone if I stay away." The sadness in his voice made her ache. "That must be lonely." "It is," he admitted. "But I have books. The forest. My thoughts. I manage." Elena set down her spoon. "You should not have to just manage," she said fiercely. "You are their king. You deserve respect. Loyalty." Drakon smiled slightly. "You sound angry on my behalf." "I am," Elena said. She was surprised to realize it was true. "None of this is your fault. You have been punished enough." "Perhaps the ritual will work," Drakon said. But his tone suggested he did not believe it. "Perhaps it will," Elena echoed. They finished breakfast in companionable silence. Afterward, Drakon showed her around the lodge. His library was extensive. Books on everything from history to botany to poetry. I have a lot of time to read, he explained. Elena ran her fingers along the spines. These are wonderful. I have only ever read my mother's journals and a few books from the village healer. You are welcome to any of them, Drakon said. While you are here. The words while you are here hung between them. A reminder that this might be temporary. That the ritual might fail. That she might leave. Thank you, Elena said quietly. They spent the morning preparing for the ritual. Elena consulted her mother's journal and made a list of what they would need. Certain herbs. Candles made from beeswax. A silver blade. Water from a natural spring. Drakon knew where to find everything. He led her through the forest, pointing out landmarks. The ancient oak where eagles nested. The stream where deer came to drink. The clearing where moonlight pooled like liquid silver. That is where we will perform the ritual, he said. Elena studied the space. It was beautiful in a wild, untamed way. It is perfect, she said. They gathered the herbs together. Drakon's huge hands were surprisingly deft as he plucked leaves and stems. I learned which plants are safe and which are poison, he explained. When you spend as much time alone as I do, you learn to take care of yourself. You are full of surprises, Elena said. Did you expect a mindless brute? He asked. There was no accusation in his tone. Only curiosity. I did not know what to expect, Elena admitted. The stories paint you as a monster. And now that you have met the monster, Elena looked at him. Really looked. At the way the winter sun caught in his dark hair. At the intelligence in his golden eyes. At the careful way he moved through the world. I think the stories are wrong, she said. Drakon stopped walking. He turned to face her fully. Elena, he said. Her name was a question and a plea and a hope all at once. Yes. If the ritual does not work, he began. If the curse remains. He paused, searching for words. You do not have to stay. I will not hold you here. I will give you safe passage anywhere you wish to go. Elena's throat tightened. And if it does work? She asked. If it works, we will be bonded, Drakon said. Mates in the eyes of magic and nature. That bond cannot be broken except by death. I know. Do you? He pressed. Do you truly understand what that means? You would be tied to me forever. To this. He gestured at himself. Elena stepped closer. She had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. I understand, she said. Do you? Do you understand that I am not some helpless girl who stumbled into your forest by accident? Chose to come here. I am choosing to stay. I am choosing to try. Drakon reached out slowly. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His finger was bigger than her ear, but his touch was feather-light. You are brave, he murmured. Or foolish, Elena said. We established that yesterday. He laughed. The sound was warm and genuine. Changed his whole face. Made him look younger. Less burdened. Come, he said. We should finish gathering supplies. They worked together through the afternoon. Drakon built a fire pit in the clearing. Elena arranged the candles in a circle according to her mother's instructions. The ritual had to be performed at midnight when the full moon was highest. They had hours to wait. As the sun began to set, they returned to the lodge. Drakon prepared dinner while Elena reviewed the journal one more time. The instructions were clear but daunting. She would need to speak the words of unbinding. She would need to offer her blood willingly. She would need to accept him without reservation. That last part terrified her. Not because of what he was, but because of what it would mean for her. Accepting him meant accepting this life. This isolation. This bond. Could she really do that? You are thinking too hard, Drakon said. She looked up to find him watching her from the kitchen. How can you tell? You get a line right here, he said, pointing to the space between his eyebrows. When you are worried. I did not realize you were paying such close attention. I pay attention to everything about you, Drakon said. The honesty in his voice made her shiver. They ate dinner slowly. Neither of them was very hungry. The weight of what was coming pressed down on them both. "Tell me about your mother," Drakon said suddenly. Elena blinked in surprise. "Why?" "Because she is part of why we are here. I want to understand her. And you." Elena set down her fork. "She was kind," she began. "Everyone in the village came to her when they were sick or hurt. She never turned anyone away. Even when they accused her of witchcraft. Even then. She said healing was her calling, her gift. She could not stop just because people feared her. She sounds strong. She was. Until your father had her arrested." Elena's voice hardened. She was trying to save her sister. "My aunt had caught a fever. Bad one. My mother used an old remedy, something her grandmother had taught her. It worked. My aunt recovered. But someone saw my mother performing the ritual and reported her. My father believed magic was evil," Drakon said quietly. "He thought it threatened his power. Your father was a tyrant." "Yes, he was. And I have spent every day since his death trying to undo the damage he caused." Elena looked at him across the table. "You are nothing like him." "How do you know?" "Because a man like him would never cook dinner for someone. Would never read poetry. Would never move so carefully to avoid breaking things. You are gentle, Drakon. Gentle in a way he never was." Drakon's expression softened. "You see me," he said. "Not many people do. Then they are fools." They finished dinner in silence. As midnight approached, they dressed for the ritual. Elena wore a simple white dress. Drakon wore dark ceremonial robes that somehow made him look even larger. They walked to the clearing together. The forest was silent around them. Even the wind had stilled. The full moon hung overhead like a silver coin. Its light bathed everything in pale luminescence. Elena's breath misted in the cold air. Drakon lit the candles one by one. They flickered in the darkness like stars brought to earth. "Are you ready?" Elena asked. Her voice shook slightly. "Yes," Drakon said. "Are you?" Elena nodded. She could not trust herself to speak. They moved to the center of the circle. Elena opened the journal with trembling hands. The words of the ritual were written in her mother's careful script. She had read them a dozen times, but they still made her nervous. "We begin with the acknowledgement," Elena said. She looked at Drakon. "I acknowledge you, Drakon of the royal bloodline, as cursed by magic and bound by fate. I acknowledge you, Elena Thornwood, daughter of the witch who cursed me, as the key to my freedom," Drakon replied. His voice was steady and strong. Elena picked up the silver blade. It gleamed in the moonlight. "I offer my blood willingly," she said. She drew the blade across her palm. Pain flared bright and sharp. Blood welled up, dark in the moonlight. Drakon did the same. His hand was so large the cut looked small. But blood dripped from his palm just as freely. They pressed their hands together. His hand completely engulfed hers. Their blood mingled and dripped onto the frozen ground. "I offer acceptance," Elena said. The words caught in her throat. This was the moment of truth. "I see you as you are. I know what you have been cursed to become. And I choose you anyway." The air around them began to shimmer. Magic stirred like a living thing. Elena felt it crawl across her skin. Warm and electric. "I accept your acceptance," Drakon said. His voice was rough with emotion. "I bind myself to you as you bind yourself to me. Two made one. Mates in magic and in truth." The shimmer grew brighter. The candles flared. Wind rushed through the clearing even though the forest beyond was still. Elena gasped as power surged through her. It felt like lightning in her veins, like fire in her bones. She looked at Drakon and saw him glowing. Golden light poured from his skin. His eyes blazed like the sun. And then he began to change. Elena watched in awe as Drakon's form shifted. He was shrinking, the impossible height receding, the overwhelming bulk diminishing. He gasped and fell to his knees. Elena dropped with him, their hands still pressed together. The light grew so bright she had to close her eyes. When it finally faded, Elena opened her eyes slowly. Drakon knelt before her. But he was different. He was still tall, still broad, still powerful. But he was human-sized now. Perhaps 6.5 feet instead of 9. Still imposing but no longer frightening. It worked, Elena breathed. Drakon looked down at himself in wonder. He held up his free hand and stared at it. I can feel it, he said. The curse is gone. It is really gone. He looked at Elena with tears in his golden eyes. You broke it. You actually broke it. Elena felt tears on her own cheeks. We broke it, she corrected. Together. Drakon pulled her into his arms. The embrace was still overwhelming but in a different way. She could feel his heart pounding against her chest. Could feel him trembling with emotion. Thank you, he whispered into her hair. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Elena wrapped her arms around him as tightly as she could. You are welcome. They stayed like that for a long moment, holding each other in the circle of candles, under the watching moon. Finally, Drakon pulled back enough to look at her. You know what this means, he asked. We are bonded now. Truly bonded. I know. You cannot leave me. Cannot leave you. We are bound together for life. I know, Elena said again. Does that frighten you? Elena thought about it. About what she was giving up. Her freedom to roam. Her plans to disappear. Her simple life. And then she thought about what she was gaining. This man who read poetry and cooked breakfast and moved gently through the world. This king who had suffered unjustly and deserved happiness. This person who saw her and valued her and needed her. No, she said honestly. It does not frighten me. Drakon smiled. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Good, he said. Because I think I am falling in love with you, Elena Thornwood. The words hung in the air between them. Precious and fragile and true. Elena's heart skipped. I think I am falling in love with you too, she whispered. Drakon cupped her face in his hands. They were still large but no longer impossibly so. May I kiss you? He asked. Please, Elena breathed. He leaned down and pressed his lips to hers. The kiss was soft at first. Tentative. Testing. Then Elena rose up on her toes and kissed him back harder. Drakon made a sound low in his throat. His arms came around her, lifting her off the ground. The kiss deepened. Became something wild and desperate and necessary. When they finally broke apart, both of them were breathing hard. We should go back to the lodge, Drakon said. His voice was rough. It is cold out here. But the heat in his eyes suggested cold was not really the issue. Elena felt warmth flood through her. Yes, she agreed. We should. They walked back through the forest hand in hand. Drakon's hand was still larger than hers, but now their fingers could actually intertwine. The lodge welcomed them back with warmth and firelight. Drakon banked the fire while Elena removed her cloak. When he turned back to her, the look in his eyes made her breath catch. Elena, he said. He crossed to her in 3 strides. I want you to be sure, truly sure. The bond is set, but we do not have to do anything more tonight. I am sure, Elena said. She reached up and touched his face. I have never been more sure of anything. Drakon kissed her again. This time there was no hesitation, no holding back. He lifted her easily and carried her to his bedroom. The space was large and warm. A massive bed dominated one wall. He set her down gently on the furs. Tell me if you want to stop, he said. At any time. Promise me. I promise, Elena said. She pulled him down to her. They learned each other slowly. Touch by touch, kiss by kiss. Drakon was careful with his strength. Gentle in a way that made Elena's heart ache. She traced the scars on his back and shoulders. Marks from years of bearing the curse. Does it hurt? She asked. Not anymore, he said. You took the pain away. They came together as the fire burned low. Two people who should never have met, who should never have trusted each other, who had broken a curse with acceptance and were building something new with love. Afterward they lay tangled together. Elena's head rested on Drakon's chest. She could hear his heartbeat, strong and steady. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we figure out how to rule together," Drakon said. "You are my mate, my queen. The people will have to accept that. They may not be happy about it. Then they will learn to be unhappy quietly," Drakon said. There was steel in his voice. "I have spent too long letting fear rule my choices. No more. You are mine and I am yours. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me." Elena smiled against his skin. "My fierce king." "Your king," he agreed. "Always." They drifted into sleep wrapped around each other. Outside, the moon completed its arc across the sky. The candles in the clearing burned down to nothing. The forest settled back into its ancient rhythms. And in the lodge, two hearts beat as one. Curse broken. A bond forged. A love that had seemed impossible now blazing bright and true. Elena had come to the forest to break a curse and run away. Instead she had found a home, partner, future. The daughter of the witch and the cursed king. Together against the world. It was not the ending anyone would have predicted. But it was theirs. And it was just beginning. Morning came with pale winter light seeping through heavy curtains. Elena woke wrapped in warmth and strength. Drakon's arms were still around her, holding her close even in sleep. She studied his face in the soft dawn glow. The harsh lines had softened. He looked peaceful in a way she suspected he had not been for years. His dark hair fell across his forehead. His breathing was deep and even. Without the curse weighing on him, he looked younger. Less like a king bearing impossible burdens and more like a man who had finally found rest. Elena traced her fingers lightly along his jaw. Drakon's eyes opened slowly. Those golden eyes focused on her and filled with warmth. "Good morning," he rumbled. His voice was even deeper first thing in the morning. "Good morning," Elena replied. "How do you feel?" Drakon stretched carefully, testing his new form. "Strange," he admitted. "Lighter. Like I have been carrying stones and someone finally took them away." He sat up and looked down at his hands, flexed his fingers. "I keep expecting to break things. But the compulsion is gone. The curse really is broken." "It is," Elena said. She sat up beside him, pulling the furs around her shoulders. "What will you do now? Will you return to the capital?" Drakon was quiet for a long moment. "I have to," he finally said. "I am still the king. I have responsibilities. But everything is different now." He turned to face her fully. "I have you. We are bonded. That changes the entire political landscape." Elena felt a flutter of nervousness. The court will not be happy. An Omega mate for the Alpha King. A witch's daughter at that. "Let them be unhappy," Drakon said firmly. "You are my chosen mate. My queen. They will show you respect or they will answer to me. You cannot threaten everyone who disagrees with you." "Watch me," Drakon said. But there was a hint of humor in his tone. Elena shook her head but she was smiling. "We need a plan. We cannot just show up and expect everyone to accept this." "You are right," Drakon admitted. He ran a hand through his hair. "The council will be the first challenge. They have been trying to arrange a political marriage for me for years. With one of the noble daughters who all rejected you." "Exactly. They wanted an alliance through marriage. Instead I have chosen a mate based on acceptance and love." The word love hung between them, precious and new. "We should stay here a few more days," Elena suggested. "Give ourselves time to adjust. Plan. Then we face the capital together." "Together," Drakon agreed. He pulled her close and kissed the top of her head. "I like the sound of that." They spent the morning in comfortable domesticity. Drakon made breakfast again while Elena read through more of her mother's journals. She was searching for any additional information about the curse and its breaking. "Find anything useful?" Drakon asked as he set a plate in front of her. "Maybe," Elena said. "My mother wrote about the nature of curses. She said they always leave a mark, even when broken." "What kind of mark?" "That is what I am trying to figure out." She was not always clear in her writings. Elena flipped through more pages. Then she stopped. Her eyes widened. "What is it?" Drakon asked. "Here. Listen to this." Elena read aloud. "A curse born of grief and rage will break only through acceptance and love. But the magic used to create such a curse does not simply vanish. Transforms. Seeks a new purpose. Beware the transformation, for it may bring gifts or trials unexpected." Drakon frowned. "What does that mean?" "I do not know," Elena admitted. "But we should be careful. There may be side effects from breaking the curse." "We will face them together," Drakon said. "Whatever comes." Elena closed the journal and reached for his hand. "Together," she agreed. They decided to spend the afternoon exploring the forest. Drakon wanted to show Elena his favorite places. The hidden grove where wild roses grew even in winter. The cliff overlooking the valley where you could see for miles. The hot spring fed by underground rivers where steam rose into the cold air. "I used to come here when the curse was at its worst," Drakon said as they stood at the edge of the spring. "The heat helped with the pain." "It must have been terrible," Elena said softly. "It was. But it is over now. Thanks to you." He pulled her close. They stood together watching the steam curl into the sky. "I never imagined I could have this," Drakon said quietly. "Someone to share these places with. Someone who sees me and does not flinch away." "I see you," Elena said. "All of you. And I am not going anywhere." Drakon turned her to face him. "I know we have only known each other a few days. I know this happened fast. But Elena, I meant what I said last night. I am falling in love with you." Elena's heart swelled. "I am falling in love with you too. Maybe I started falling the moment I saw the sadness in your eyes. Or maybe it was when you cooked me breakfast. Or when you showed me your library. I do not know when it started. But I know it is real." They kissed there beside the spring. Steam wreathed around them like a blessing. When they finally pulled apart, Drakon had a mischievous look in his eyes. "Want to go in? In the spring?" "No. It is freezing out here." "Exactly. Which makes the hot water even better." Elena laughed. "You are mad." "Probably. But come on. Live a little." They stripped quickly and slipped into the water. Elena gasped at the contrast. The frigid air and the scalding water. But Drakon was right. Felt incredible. They floated together in the steaming pool. The sky above was pale blue streaked with clouds. "This is perfect," Elena sighed. "You are perfect," Drakon murmured. He pulled her close and they stayed there until the sun began to set. That night they made love again. Slower this time. Taking their time to explore and discover. Elena learned that Drakon was ticklish along his ribs. Drakon learned that Elena loved having her neck kissed. They learned each other's rhythms and sounds. Built something beautiful between them. Afterward, wrapped in each other again, Drakon spoke into the darkness. "When we go to the capital, things will be difficult. I know. The nobles will challenge you. Question your right to be queen. They may try to undermine you." "Let them try," Elena said. There was steel in her voice. "I am the daughter of a healer and the mate of a king. I am not some fragile flower who will wilt under pressure." Drakon chuckled. "I am beginning to realize that. But I want you to be prepared. Court politics can be vicious." "Then teach me," Elena said. "We have a few days. Teach me what I need to know." So they spent the next 3 days preparing. Drakon taught Elena about the major noble houses, the alliances and feuds, the power players and the schemers. Elena proved to be a quick study. She had a sharp mind and a gift for reading between the lines. "Lord Blackwood will be your biggest problem," Drakon explained as they sat by the fire one evening. He has been pushing for me to marry his daughter for years. The one who rejected you. The very same. Though to be fair, he arranged the meeting before she ever met me. She took one look and ran. Her loss, Elena said firmly. Drakon smiled. Blackwood will see you as a threat to his ambitions. He wanted his bloodline joined to the throne. How powerful is he? Very. He controls the Eastern Territories and commands significant military forces. So we need to neutralize him or win him over. Easier said than done. The man is stubborn and proud. Elena thought for a moment. What does he value most? Beyond power. Legacy. Honor. His family name has been prestigious for generations. Then we appeal to that, Elena said. We acknowledge his importance. Give him a position of honor. Make him feel valued even if he did not get what he wanted. Drakon looked at her with admiration. You are going to be a formidable queen. I have a good teacher. They also trained together. Elena insisted on learning basic self-defense. If I am going to be queen, I need to know how to protect myself, she argued. Drakon agreed and taught her some basic moves. How to break a hold. Where to strike for maximum effect. How to use an attacker's momentum against them. You are strong, he said after she successfully flipped him. Stronger than you look. I had to be, Elena said. Growing up as a witch's daughter, I learned early how to defend myself. On the fourth day they both knew it was time. They could not hide in the forest forever. Drakon had responsibilities. And Elena was ready to face them with him. They packed carefully. Elena wore a dress Drakon had commissioned from the village. Deep blue velvet with silver embroidery. It fit her perfectly and made her look regal. Drakon wore his formal robes. Black and silver, marking him as king. They looked at each other before leaving. Ready? Drakon asked. Ready, Elena confirmed. They rode toward the capital on horseback. Drakon on a massive black stallion. Elena on a smaller gray mare. The journey would take 2 days. As they traveled, people began to notice them. Farmers working in fields. Travelers on the road. Word spread quickly. The Alpha King was returning. And he was not alone. They stopped at an inn the first night. The innkeeper's eyes went wide when he saw Drakon. Your Majesty, he stammered. We did not expect you. I know, Drakon said calmly. We need 2 rooms and a meal. Of course, of course. The innkeeper scurried to prepare. But Elena noticed how he stared. How everyone in the common room stared. At Drakon's new size. At her presence beside him. Whispers followed them everywhere. Is that really the king? He is so much smaller than they said. Who is the woman? I heard she is a witch. Elena kept her head high and ignored them. At dinner, a drunk man approached their table. You are not the Alpha King, he slurred. The Alpha King is a giant. A monster. Drakon stood slowly. Even at his new height, he was still imposing. I am the Alpha King, he said quietly. And you will show respect or leave. Something in his tone made the drunk man stumble backward. My apologies, Your Majesty. He fled. The rest of the inn went silent. Well handled, Elena murmured. I have had practice, Drakon said. That night in her room, Elena could not sleep. Nerves twisted in her stomach. Tomorrow they would reach the capital. Tomorrow everything would change. A soft knock came at her door. It is me, Drakon's voice said. Elena opened the door. Drakon stood there in simple sleeping clothes. I could not sleep either, he admitted. Can I come in? Elena stepped aside. He entered and they sat together on the bed. Are you having second thoughts? Drakon asked. No, Elena said firmly. Are you? Never. But I worry about what we are walking into. We will face it together, Elena reminded him. You keep saying that. Because it is true. And because I think you need to hear it. You have been alone for so long, Drakon. But you are not alone anymore. He pulled her close. What did I do to deserve you? You were yourself, Elena said simply. That was enough. They fell asleep holding each other. The innkeeper's knowing look the next morning suggested he knew Drakon had spent the night in Elena's room. But he said nothing. They set out early. By midday the capital came into view. Tea rose from the plains like a stone crown. Walls and towers and spires reaching toward the sky. The castle sat at the highest point, commanding and formidable. That is home, Drakon said. It is impressive, Elena breathed. It is cold and full of vipers, Drakon said. But it is also beautiful and full of history. You will learn to love it. I hope. They rode through the main gates. People stopped and stared. The whispers grew louder. The king returns. Look, he has changed. The curse is broken. Who is that with him? Elena felt the weight of 1,000 eyes. But she kept her spine straight and her chin high. She was Elena Thornwood, daughter of Lyanna, mate to the Alpha King. And she would not be intimidated. They rode straight to the castle. The guards at the gate looked shocked. Your Majesty, one stammered. We did not know you were returning. I do not need to announce my comings and goings in my own castle, Drakon said mildly. Of course not, sire. Please go in. They dismounted in the courtyard. Servants rushed forward to take their horses. A steward appeared, looking flustered. Your Majesty, this is unexpected. Shall I prepare your chambers? Prepare the royal suite, Drakon said. Both rooms. The steward's eyes flickered to Elena. Both rooms, sire. You heard me. And send word to the council. I will meet with them in 1 hour. Yes, your Majesty. The steward hurried away. Drakon turned to Elena. Are you ready for this? I have to be, Elena said. He took her hand. Together they walked into the castle. Elena's first impression was of grandeur and cold. High ceilings and marble floors. Tapestries and suits of armor. Everything designed to impress and intimidate. Their footsteps echoed as they climbed the stairs. Servants bowed as they passed. But Elena could feel the questions and judgment in their eyes. The royal suite was enormous. A sitting room, a bathing room, and 2 bedrooms. All decorated in rich fabrics and dark wood. This is where I stay when I am in the capital, Drakon explained. You can take the larger bedroom if you want. We can share, Elena said. If you are comfortable with that. More than comfortable, Drakon said warmly. He pulled her close. But the council is expecting me. We should prepare. Elena freshened up and changed into a more formal gown. Deep green this time with gold accents. She braided her hair in an intricate crown. When she emerged, Drakon was waiting in his formal robes. He looked every inch the king. Powerful and commanding. You look beautiful, he said. You look terrifying, Elena replied. In a good way. He offered his arm. Shall we go show them what happens when you underestimate a cursed king and a witch's daughter? Elena took his arm. Let us. They walked through the corridors together. Elena could feel her heart pounding. This was it. The moment of truth. Would the council accept her? Or would they fight? She was about to find out. The council chamber doors loomed ahead. Tall and imposing. Guards stood on either side. They opened the doors as Drakon and Elena approached. The room beyond was circular with high windows. A round table sat in the center. 6 men and 2 women stood around it. The council. All of them stared as Drakon and Elena entered. Their shock was palpable. Your Majesty, an older man with gray hair said. We did not expect you. And you have changed. The curse is broken, Lord Chancellor, Drakon said. His voice rang with authority. I have returned to resume my full duties as king. But how? A woman with sharp features demanded. The curse was supposed to be unbreakable. Nothing is unbreakable, Drakon said. With the right knowledge and the right person. He drew Elena forward. Council members, allow me to introduce Elena Thornwood, my mate and your queen. The silence that followed was deafening. Then everyone started talking at once. Impossible. A witch's daughter. You cannot be serious. This is an outrage. Drakon's voice cut through the noise like a blade. Silence. The room went quiet. Elena is my chosen mate, Drakon said. We are bonded by magic and by choice. She broke the curse that has plagued me for years. She will be respected as queen. Is that understood? Lord Blackwood stepped forward. He was a large man with a commanding presence. Your Majesty, with all due respect, you cannot expect us to simply accept this. The woman is an Omega, commoner, the daughter of a convicted witch. My mother was a healer, Elena said. Her voice was clear and strong. She was executed unjustly by the previous king for trying to save her sister's life. I am not ashamed of my heritage. You should be, Blackwood sneered. Your mother cursed our king. And I broke that curse, Elena countered. Something none of your noble daughters could do. Or would do. Blackwood's face reddened. How dare you? Enough, Drakon said. His voice was hard as iron. Lord Blackwood, you will treat my mate with respect, or you will find yourself removed from this council. You cannot do that. I am the king. I can do whatever I want. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Finally, the Lord Chancellor spoke. Your Majesty, perhaps we could discuss this matter privately, without the woman present. No, Drakon said flatly. Elena stays. She's my queen. She belongs here. But the law, another council member protested. The law states that the king's mate must be approved by the council. The law also states that a bonded mate cannot be rejected, Drakon said. We are magically bonded. That bond supersedes your approval. He looked around the table. I am not asking for your permission. I am informing you of the reality. Elena is my mate, my queen. You will treat her accordingly or you will be replaced. This is tyranny, Blackwood spat. This is monarchy, Drakon corrected. And in case you have forgotten, I am the monarch. Elena watched the power play with fascination. Drakon was not backing down. He was using his authority fully for the first time. And the council did not know how to respond. They had grown used to a king who hid away, who let them make decisions in his absence. Now they were faced with a king who was present and powerful. Terrified them. I propose a compromise, the Lord Chancellor said carefully. Lady Elena could undergo a trial period. Prove herself worthy of the crown. She is already worthy, Drakon said. She broke an unbreakable curse. What more proof do you need? Political acumen, Blackwood said. Knowledge of governance. Understanding of our ways. Elena spoke up. I am willing to learn. I do not claim to know everything about ruling. But I am intelligent and capable. Give me a chance to prove myself. Drakon looked at her. She could see the question in his eyes. She nodded slightly. Very well, Drakon said. Elena will have 1 month to demonstrate her capabilities. But understand this. At the end of that month, she will be formally crowned queen regardless of your opinions. This trial is a courtesy, not a requirement. The council members exchanged looks. It was not what they wanted, but it was better than nothing. Agreed, the Lord Chancellor said. 1 month. Good, Drakon said. This meeting is adjourned. Elena and I have been traveling. We need rest. He turned and offered Elena his arm. They walked out together. Behind them, the council erupted into argument. But Drakon did not look back. In the hallway, Elena let out a breath she had been holding. That went better than I expected. They are scared, Drakon said. Scared people are dangerous. We need to be careful. I know. But we made it through the first challenge. You were magnificent, Drakon said. He stopped and turned to face her. Standing up to Blackwood like that. You are going to be an incredible queen. I had a good example, Elena said. She reached up and touched his face. You were the king they needed to see. Strong. Decisive. Not hiding anymore. I am done hiding, Drakon agreed. From now on we face everything head-on. Together, Elena said. Together, Drakon echoed. And despite the challenges ahead, despite the enemies they had just made, Elena felt hope. They had broken a curse. They had faced the council. They would face whatever came next the same way. Side by side. Mimi, my queen. You will treat her accordingly or you will be replaced. This is tyranny, Blackwood spat. This is monarchy, Drakon corrected. And in case you have forgotten, I am the monarch. Elena watched the power play with fascination. Drakon was not backing down. He was using his authority fully for the first time. And the council did not know how to respond. They had grown used to a king who hid away, who let them make decisions in his absence. Now they were faced with a king who was present and powerful. Terrified them. I propose a compromise, the Lord Chancellor said carefully. Lady Elena could undergo a trial period. Prove herself worthy of the crown. She is already worthy, Drakon said. She broke an unbreakable curse. What more proof do you need? Political acumen, Blackwood said. Knowledge of governance. Understanding of our ways. Elena spoke up. I am willing to learn. I do not claim to know everything about ruling. But I am intelligent and capable. Give me a chance to prove myself. Drakon looked at her. She could see the question in his eyes. She nodded slightly. Very well, Drakon said. Elena will have 1 month to demonstrate her capabilities. But understand this. At the end of that month, she will be formally crowned queen regardless of your opinions. This trial is a courtesy, not a requirement. The council members exchanged looks. It was not what they wanted, but it was better than nothing. Agreed, the Lord Chancellor said. 1 month. Good, Drakon said. This meeting is adjourned. Elena and I have been traveling. We need rest. He turned and offered Elena his arm. They walked out together. Behind them, the council erupted into argument. But Drakon did not look back. In the hallway, Elena let out a breath she had been holding. That went better than I expected. They are scared, Drakon said. Scared people are dangerous. We need to be careful. I know. But we made it through the first challenge. You were magnificent, Drakon said. He stopped and turned to face her. Standing up to Blackwood like that. You are going to be an incredible queen. I had a good example, Elena said. She reached up and touched his face. You were the king they needed to see. Strong. Decisive. Not hiding anymore. I am done hiding, Drakon agreed. From now on we face everything head-on. Together, Elena said. Together, Drakon echoed. And despite the challenges ahead, despite the enemies they had just made, Elena felt hope. They had broken a curse. They had faced the council. They would face whatever came next the same way. Side by side.